Guys, are you ready to take your bedroom from mild to wild? All right, let's do it. I'm Caitlin V, and this is my rough guide to rough sex. Why have rough sex? Well, sex is inherently animalistic. Its very nature requires us to put upon our reptilian and mammalian instincts. It is visceral, physical, and sensual. That's why Hunter S. Thompson referred to it as making the beast with two backs. But we modern day humans have gotten so prim and proper that we have practically neutralized the animalistic side of sex. We should be lions and lionesses in the bedroom instead of gentle little kittens. I mean, when animals have sex, they don't make love, they fully commit to it. Incidentally, have you ever seen two turtles having sex? I highly recommend that you Google it and add Matthew McConaughey if you're nasty. My point is, rough sex connects us back to our feral nature. It brings us to the place that modern society thinks that we should have evolved from. I mean, just because we have electric cars and cell phones and TikTok, you know what? I think rough sex should make a comeback. You can even think of it more like caveman sex. It's grunting, it's aggressive, it's passionate, and primal. And because it's so primal, it's kind of frowned upon by society. But that is what makes it so fun. And rough sex can truly be fun. It can be epic. It can cause your toes to curl and your hair to stand on end, but only when it is done right, because otherwise it can get really messy. And guys, I want you to give it to her so good that she keeps coming back for more. So what is rough sex exactly? I am not talking about kink. I'm not talking about BDSM. I'm not talking about whips and chains. I'm talking about letting the animal inside of you out to play and keeping it on just short enough of a leash that you have an amazing time that lets you both get out of your human brains and get more into your like reptilian mammalian brains, and maybe leaves you with a couple rug burns and a little light bruising and some great memories. The reason that rough sex is so great is that it gets us back into our primal, powerful nature. It's like feeling our internal caveman, our barbarian. It's deeply connected, it's passionate, it is sex turned up to an 11. And when you go there for your lover, it gives her permission to do the same. And sometimes that's all that's needed for women, especially women who have a hard time getting into it or have difficulty giving themselves permission to enjoy pleasure and get into the pleasurable sensations of sex. Sometimes that's just because our higher thinking brain needs to take a break. And you know what can't coexist with our higher thinking brain? Us making animal sounds, okay? All right, I want to say thank you to the sponsor of this video and introduce you to Joymode. Joymode makes natural and science-backed wellness products for men. Their sexual performance booster is like a pre-workout, but for sex. If you're like me and you want to put only high quality things in your body that help it to perform at its best, Joymode has created a product that will support erection, firmness, and quality, supports sex drive, and supports healthy blood flow to the areas that need it most. It's very simple to use. All you do is mix one of these packets with water and drink it 5 hours to 45 minutes before sexual activity in order to experience that boost in the bedroom. Whether you're really happy with your sex life already and you just want to perform a little bit better, or you just want to make sure that your partner is getting the best of you possible, Joymode is like a pre-workout, but for the bedroom. I recommend that you check it out. They're offering a special 20% discount to subscribers of my channel. All you have to do is go to usejoymode.com/CaitlinV and enter CaitlinV at checkout. In this video, I'm going to tell you about all of the elements that make rough sex great. Everything from communication all the way to bite marks, and I'm going to tell you exactly how to do it right. Let's start with what makes it great. As with any kind of sex, the first and most important thing is communication. Before you and your partner start any kind of rough play, make sure to have a conversation about boundaries, intent, and injuries. Yeah, really. I have had clients tell me in the past that a bit of unexpected hair pulling aggravated an old neck injury. We want want your partner to feel weak in the knees, but not to actually injure their knee, right? So make sure to communicate during sex, before sex, even establishing a safe word. I like the word yellow for like, this is getting close, we need to slow down, and red for everything needs to stop. And that's really good just even for vanilla sex. Also, communication is a great inroad into rough sex anyways. Like if it's something that you've always wanted to try, then having a conversation about it first is a great way to get that started. Plenty of women are going to be interested in this, but maybe wouldn't have brought it up themselves. I invite you to sit down after dinner, have a glass of wine, and talk about how you want to get dirty in bed. And once you're in bed, you can still communicate using your sound, your noises. In fact, this is one of the greatest things about rough sex. Think about the ways that animals mate. They grunt, they groan, they squeak, they squeal, they squelch. There is so much communication that goes on beyond our words. All right, let's talk about the good stuff though. What is rough sex made out of? Well, I want to start with wrestling. Yeah, just how you remembered it back in high school. Wrestling in bed is a lot of fun. It's not about power bombs or Death Valley drivers or Canadian destroyer pile drivers. The thing about wrestling in bed is it's not just fun, it's actually really beneficial. It allows us to get into our core, into our pelvis, into the muscles that connect to and anchor our genitals. So it's actually extremely arousing to be activating our body and pushing our bodies against each other in space. Being met with resistance actually causes us to engage some of the most important muscles through pleasure. All right, so story time. When I was in college, I dated someone who was almost exactly my same height and weight, and he was a man, so he was stronger than me, but we were able to really wrestle each other, and it brought out all of this primal heat and arousal between us. Like, I didn't even know what I was doing back then. I just knew that he and I liked to get naked and like rough each other up, and it was some of the best sex of my life. All of that physical exertion just turns parts of your body on in a different way than having like soft, sweet, intimate, sensual sex can do. All right, now that we've discussed wrestling and physicality, let's talk about biting, clawing, and scratching. You have an animal body, and it comes complete with nails that are like claws and teeth, and these things can add so much to sex. I mean, as animals, our teeth are one of the very first things that we learn to use. We use them to chew, to warn off danger, to expose our friendliness with a smile. And they can also be used to sensually bite down on a nipple or a neck or an inner thigh, any number of places. Just remember to play it safe, and also remember that as you get more aroused, your pain tolerance rises. And you don't want to leave your partner with a bite mark that they then have to explain to their boss or their friend or their coworker the next day. You cannot always blame it on the dog, okay? Nails can also be a lot of fun. Dragging them slowly down your lover's skin, sensually connecting every single part of you. Some people even really love the look of nail marks left over on their skin after a great sex session. It can act as a reminder of a wild night, but keep in mind that not everybody is into that, so you're gonna want to check first. And the same is true with the famous 5-star handprints that can be left over from spankings. They are hot, but not to all of us. We also got to talk about hair and sweat and tears, because hair pulling is a part of rough sex. It doesn't have to be for everyone, but it can be an awesome thing if you do it correctly, and there is a right way to do it. I mean, grabbing your partner's hair and showing her the ceiling while you're doing doggy style can make for a really spicy memory to add into her spank bank, but it can also cause a ton of pain and disconnection and totally ruin the moment if you don't apply it correctly. The best way to pull hair is to grab a handful at the roots, not at the ends, and never ever yank. And consider your timing with this. You don't want to just be like pulling her hair at random when you're having sex. Use a moment like when she's close to orgasm, it's like kind of reaching a plateau, but she's like not all the way there. That is your moment to come in with a move like a hair pull to help her get over the edge. And as always, you want to be conscious of her neck. This is something that we can like get kind of caught up in the heat of the moment or get lost in passion. If you are messing with someone's head and neck, you have got to make sure that you are in control. And secondly, Don't be afraid to get sweaty. Get sweaty. Animals are sweaty. Animals have like tons of fluids. Like, have you ever seen two dogs that are all over each other, sniffing each other's butts? Smell each other, sniff each other, get sweaty, get drooly, get like your tears, cry on each other. You're an animal. That is part of the fun. And that brings me to another piece of advice. I recommend that for rough sex, you use all of the surfaces available to you. I mean, we've been talking about sex being primal. Animals don't wait until they have a bed to mate in. They go at it in the tree or in the bush or in the dirt or wherever they are, okay? You have got all kinds of different surfaces. You've got floors, counters, you've got tables. You can press her up against the wall. You can bend her over the bathroom sink so that you can both watch yourself in the mirror. Just make sure that nobody bumps their head, okay? The more that you can think about breaking out and using the space around you in order to create a completely different environment that is not at all like what proper prim humans do, the better the experience you will have. And when you think about rough sex, you might also think about choking, and there is a proper way to choke, and there are many, many improper ways to choke. So do your research. Don't just start grabbing at somebody's neck. You could end up causing a lot of damage, injury, and even death if you don't know how to choke appropriately. A good workaround is just to put your hand on the base of someone's neck. You don't actually have to get up on their neck to create the sensation as if they were choking. You just push your hand down here and whisper into her ears or grunt or roar at her like the tiger that you are. All right, that was my rough guide to rough sex. In short, connect with the animal inside of you. Humans are mammals. You have this in you. And this might be the one thing that is gonna move you from the Victorian era prim and proper sex where nobody's coming and it's kind of bland and vanilla to the exciting, orgasmic, wet and wild sex that you have always been desiring. Do it right, communicate, play with everything that you've got at your disposal, and I promise that you and your partner will be able to have a great time. If you liked this, make sure that you subscribe to this channel because there's plenty more where this came from. I'm Caitlin V, and I will see you here next week. Bye.